Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is Arjax coming at you again. So today I'm going to show you the auction house add-on that I use and show you how much gold that I made from doing the auction house scan last time. I'm gonna have to edit it out because it's gonna take a while. But as you can see, I'm at 69 gold, which I'm really at 19 gold because I gave myself 50 gold from another character. So I'm just going to go ahead and collect everything from my bay or my mailbox. Actually, not everything because I don't have enough room for it. But as you can see there, um, at I'm at level 26, and when I did the auction house scan last time, I I was at level 15 or no 19. So at level 19, realistically, I've already made 150 gold, which is fairly good. So I use auctioneer add-on, and so I could scan it page by page. It takes a lot longer, like probably about 30 minutes, or I can click here to do the fast get all scan of the auction house, and that's what I do. Um, it's not as thorough or as good as the traditional auction house scan, but what it does is it allows you to grab everything that you need. Or it grabs most of the information. It's supposed to be as good, but it's not quite as good. You don't get all the sellers' names and everything like that, but it's really not anything that I'm willing to spend the extra time doing. So the big thing with this is that the reason why this is going to take so long is because of the amount of items on the auction house. On other servers that I'm on, it takes like 5 to 30 seconds to do. This is a high pop server, it's Moonguard. Um, and with that being said, it takes quite a bit of time in order for it to go ahead and scan the entire auction house. So you actually missed me ding level 26 last time. I stopped my video at the end of the dungeon, and I turned in the rest of the quests, and it actually pushed me up to level 26. I apologize for that. Next time I'm just going to stay in there. I was kind of worried about remaining hard drive space on my computer, but after looking back on it, I really had enough hard drive space to go ahead and show you guys that, and I do apologize for that. So, but all you missed was me turning in a quest. So I'm going to go ahead and probably edit out the rest of this. So I'll be back in a second once this finishes scanning. So it finished scanning. It took about 2.5 minutes, which is better than I had expected. So now all I have to do is I go over here and it's showing me the sellers and the average price, and I can just post the item. This actually helps you out a lot. Like, there is no way that I'm going to go through and search for every single every single every single item that I have in order to find out the prices. So what this does is it finds all the prices for me, and I can relatively just click through. There's a couple things like this dire wand. Um, you can see one selling for 75 silver, and one for 1 gold, 17 silver, and obviously that is if I post this, it's going to be a lot more than theirs. I'm not worried about getting the best value for everything that I have. So I'm going to just go ahead and knock it down to the lowest priced one. Because you know what? I might as well sell it. I'm never going to use any of these items. So, this one right here is way underpriced. So I'll just go ahead and post this anyways, assuming that that one's going to sell and then mine will sell on top of it. But, and if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. Not a big deal. The deposit for these isn't that great. So, or isn't that high. So I'm not too terribly worried about wasting the few silvers that it's going to cost me to post the items. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through and post everything that I have here because, If I don't post it, then it's just going to sit in my inventory, and I'm going to end up vendor trashing it. And so, like, this one for vendor trash is 1 silver. So even if I'm selling this for 50% of the value, I'm still making out like a bandit. So that's what I'm looking at right here. Um, and that's ultimately what I want to do. I just want to get rid of all of these extra items that I have, and really just make room in my inventory. Ultimately, not too terribly concerned if these sell at all. If they sell, great. If they don't, whatever. But that's ultimately my goal right there, is to just get rid of all of these items and make room in my bags for them. So, holy cow. Yeah. And then another thing to be aware of is, with using this scan, you want to for sure scan a few times before you actually use it to get the correct value of an item. For me, I'm not too worried about it because I'm not worried about the gold necessarily. But what I want to do is just get rid of all the stuff in my bags. So that's why I'm going through here and actually doing this like this. Um, if I was really worried about making gold, I probably would not be leveling a level um, a new character, and I'd just worry about getting to end level content and making gold. You know, if you're gonna make it, you're gonna make it. If you're not, you're not. It's kind of one of those things. If you really want to make gold, you should really be dedicated directly to making gold. Um, Obviously, I'm not too worried about making gold. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to get wrapped up in it on this character. Um, and like I said, gold is kind of silly. Well, it's not really silly, but I kind of feel like it's kind of silly um, in this game, especially after you get like your first 100K. After you get 100K, there's really nothing that you're going to need. And I say need because there's always going to be things that you're going to want. But there, after you get like, I'd say even 20K, there's nothing in the game that you're going to need to buy that's over 20K. Um, and you're really looking at it as far as a convenience standpoint. So, that being said, that's why I'm not really too concerned about it. Even though I don't have a lot of gold on this server, I think total I have like 15 gold, um, which isn't great, but at the same time, what, or 15k gold. What am I gonna do with 15k gold? The only thing I can think of is buy vanity items. Um, I don't ever buy gear. I know that sound well, that's not even true. I did buy the heirlooms, but typically I don't buy gear. There's a very like rare instances where I actually go out and buy gear. Some of those instances are when, you know, I'm trying to do a specific dungeon and I need a specific piece of gear to make it work. I ran a raid with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what raid it was, but I needed to do frost damage, so I went out and bought an enchant that did frost damage to him, or rather, it was elemental damage. And what that did was that allowed me to actually complete the dungeon. But on top of that, I had to buy a weapon that was a faster attack, because you have to do 30 hits on the boss to kill it while it's frozen. So I had to buy a fast attack weapon, and then I had to buy some haste potions to get us up to doing enough enough hits in order to kill the boss. It was a lower level raid, so it wasn't really all that hard to do overall. Every other part of it we just blazed through, but we needed to get rid of that boss, and we couldn't kill him by just doing damage. So we had to look up how to kill him, and it was pretty cool. I actually enjoyed the raid. It's always fun to do new stuff. So all of these things are whites. I don't know why I actually even put these on the auction house before. Um, the whites, they're really not worth anything, and not a lot of people buy whites. So me actually even putting those on there was kind of a waste of my time. But I did. So let's go ahead and queue up for a dungeon. I'm going to try to cap level 30 in this video and see how it's going. So the dungeon queues today aren't really that fast, so I'm going to cut out a second and start recording once it pops. Alright, I'm back. It took about 10 minutes for it to queue, which was fine because I was just going ahead and doing a little bit of homework. So here we are. We're in this dungeon, Nomarin. I'm not a big fan of this dungeon. I've run this way too many times. What I do with these items here that I know I'm going to need is I just go ahead and put them on my button key. So I know I'm going to jump down, so I just go ahead and I put it up there so that I can easily just click it on. It looks like somebody had already started this. I don't really know what's going on with the group here. And actually, oh, there they are. They're coming down with me. Or, you know, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just not seeing the boss, and I'm not seeing as many ads as I normally do. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask them if this is the new one. So we shall see. Because I'm not seeing the boss down here, you know? And that's just a little weird overall. Alright, I said I was going to try to not say but it looks like somebody is pulling aggro off me. So that's a little annoying. But we will see if it continues on throughout the dungeon. It looks... Yeah, that dude is taunting. So... So yeah, I got a genius in here, and the genius appears to be Long Victor. So yeah, this is really annoying. And I can imagine why they did not have a tank. It is super annoying to go into a dungeon and have somebody taunting off you. That is like my biggest pet peeve. It's like, why the heck would you queue as DPS to tank? Or to try to tank? Or maybe you just don't really know what's going on. It's super... It's just like WTF. It's just one of those moments. So it shouldn't be too bad to actually get through here. I don't know where the heck everybody is or what they're doing. This is kind of a clustered dungeon, and you'll see these every now and then. It's one of those things that kind of sucks, but you know, you kind of get used to it in tanking. So this guy is actually got full... He's got full heirlooms, minus the trinkets. He's got even an heirloom weapon. So yeah, he's actually pretty well geared for DPS. But, you know, he was taunting. I don't know why aggro is being pulled off from me. So we're just gonna have to go through here. Maybe this dungeon's a little glitched in the overall. But yeah, this is not going to be as smooth as a dungeon as I'm used to. There is definitely a big group of mechanics that is definitely going wrong here. People are pulling aggro off me. The hunter, oh, he actually did get a pet out, so that's good. So we'll see. We'll see how well it goes overall. I'm not too concerned about it. Obviously, we're going to get through it, and it's seeming to pick up speed here, so that's always nice. Unfortunately, the first boss wasn't there. So that does kind of suck. It always sucks when you can't complete a quest, but like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'm probably going to run this dungeon at least one more time on this tune. So it's just weird that the boss wasn't there. So up here, you're going to actually, yeah, this is definitely not a clean run. This boss is dead. So I'm gonna grab a parachute. I'm gonna come over here, and this is where we jump off. And I just queue up the parachute as soon as I jump. This is the space of which we're gonna come down. So we're gonna have to stand back and watch and make sure nobody goes ahead and actually accidentally pulls the other people in the area. It doesn't look like anybody's going to. Like I said, this isn't a clean run. It's not new. Somebody died. I don't know where he died. I don't know why he died. It seems like it would be kind of impossible to die, but it's the healer. So that is something that we need to fix. Apparently they jumped off on the wrong side. So we're going to have to go find... No, it's not the healer. The healer didn't die. Somebody else jumped off the wrong side. There he is, right there. And he aggroed up the guys. That's why I said that I turn around and actually watch and make sure everything goes well, as opposed to continuing on my pull and finding out that, you know, there's a big group of ads coming behind me. So this is actually very rough. This is not like a dungeon I normally run, and especially not one that I'm this familiar with. So I'm a little disappointed in this group and the run overall. And especially since I'm not even going to be able to kill any of the bosses in here because they're already dead. So let's see what the DPS is at, because we are not doing a whole terrible amount of damage to these guys. So it looks like we should be doing a fairly good amount. Everybody else is, all the DPS is actually higher than me. I don't know if that was because I took a break and pulled that up, or if it was something else. But this section right here is definitely harder than it should have been. Like, there is no reason whatsoever for that to have been as difficult as it was. So we got the healer coming up, and we got he summoned the hunter, but the hunter did not appear to accept the summons. Oh, there he goes. So that is just something that, you know, as a tank you should really be aware of, is where everybody's at and what's going on with their health and everything else. So that's why, you know, I'm paying attention to that. I don't know how other people are getting damaged. It does not appear that I'm actually mispulling anything or dropping aggro. But, you know, you look over to the left and the healer's taking some damage. I don't know why the healer's taking some damage, but they're not taking any more damage, so that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on how I normally pull stuff and try to get this resembling somewhat of a good dungeon run. And at least we're going to get through this. I'm surprised all the ads are here if all the bosses are dead. Um, that's what's really throwing me off on this. If the bosses are dead, that means that they had to come through here and kill the ads, but all the ads are still here. So we'll see. We're going to get to the final boss. The final boss is right down this path, and we'll see how it is. It's really disappointing, especially since I spent so much time queuing for this as a tank, which is really odd. Like 7 minutes, which is not typical queue time for a tank. So there's going to be 7 minutes of played on my account that is unfortunate that I can't get rid of. I wish what you could do is you could log in to a character, queue for a tank or LFG or a dungeon, and log out or go on to another character. And when it pops, you get a notification and be like, do you want to accept this queue on this character? If you click yes, it just transfers you automatically into it. I understand that the code for that would probably be pretty intensive and, just a little overwhelming for the developers, but it would definitely, in my opinion, be worth it. It would be, I think it'd be one of those things that everybody in World of Warcraft loved, especially people who are running alts. And there I said again. So let's see. Let's see if there is the final boss behind this door, and I will go ahead and re-queue with this group, even though it's been kind of a train wreck thus far. Everybody's seeming to get going and figure out what they're supposed to be doing, so it's not too bad. Something else that I really enjoy is that the DPS is actually phenomenal. It's actually pretty freaking awesome. Everybody is doing more DPS than me, which is not typical. So, but that wouldn't be a reason why I was dropping aggro. So we will see what happens. We'll see if anybody wants to re-queue after this. So, and then I'm going to pop my thing telling them that we're recording. I kind of forgot about that. So, alright, there we go. Yep, it appeared that they ran through here and dropped the dungeon because they could not complete it. So we'll go ahead and see if people want to re-queue. And we'll see what's up with them. So we got 1 DPS. The healer appears, the healer's really what I want to come back in. And there we go. We got the healer, me, going into a dungeon with Longhorn, or the tank that was kind of irritating me. But, heck, whatever. Or not the tank, he's DPS, but he was tanking. But that seems to have got under control. I actually saw him taunt. So the reason why I was kind of skeptical of if that was a clean run was because these guys right here were not dead. What that means for you, or what that means to me, is that somebody had come through here and killed them. But when we jumped down here and there was all these ads, oh crap. I forgot to grab a frickin' parachute, so I'm probably going to die here. Yay, way to go, Arjax. You are an idiot. Let's see if the healer can pop me up. Definitely big fail on me. Yep, fail. So I probably just caused the entire group to wipe right there. So we'll see if I can get back in and save the group, or if they can save themselves. Luckily, we have that other guy that's pretty well geared. So yeah, big fail on my part. Grab the parachute. And pop down and continue on my tanking ways. But yeah, that's a case of mechanics of the game that I messed up. So that kind of sucks. Not typical for me. Definitely atypical. messed up the pull. I feel really bad about it, but it didn't. It only seemed to affect me, and so what that really means is that I lost. Holy cow! What's going on over here? Why are you here? Where did they come from? So actually, it was probably the Warlock's fault. He probably jumped down without desummoning his minion. So his minion probably went ahead and pulled everything. So no big deal there. I'll just run back. We definitely got a big chunk of EXP there. It kind of sucks when stuff like this happens. Um, no big deal, though. You know, that's the second time this character's died in the same dungeon. So this dungeon is definitely going a little rough. And this is why people dislike this dungeon. It's got a lot of mechanics in it that, you know, are very simple. But if you're new, you definitely miss those mechanics or you don't know about them. And since this is a low level dungeon, even though the mechanics are very, very simple, very straightforward, you're going to get people who don't know the mechanics, obviously. And so when they don't know the mechanics, it's not a big deal. You just, you know, happily tell them. And, you know, I told the Warlock there, he didn't really respond. I kind of said it tongue in cheek, like, because, you know, you look over there, everybody was with us. So obviously, if everybody is with us and we jump down, nobody just like randomly ran around pulling stuff. So that means that when we jump down, the Warlock's pet, or minion rather, was not desummoned, and so he ran through and aggroed everything, and that's why we ended up getting everything aggroed to us. So we'll see if the same thing happens again, which I kind of going to speculate that it's going to happen again, especially since the Warlock never responded back to what I said and be like, oh, hey, oops, sorry, my bad. Um, they may not know what they're doing as far as how to desummon, resummon, that kind of thing, and they might be too embarrassed to ask for help. So we'll see what ends up transpiring in this dungeon, and we'll see how well it actually goes from here on out. But the advantage that we now do have is that we are aware that that's probably going to be a possibility on the next one. So, you know, if I'd been aware of it, I'd have waited for the Warlock and his pet to catch up to us, and had I done that, that would have been a very manageable pull. So we would have been able to, you know, account for that pull and account for the additional damage that was going to go in, and I would have been able to stack up Rage in order to cast my shield block. Now, I didn't have the Rage to cast it, and, you know, we were just trying to pop up and keep alive, so we kind of really did have a disadvantage right there, but we got out of it okay. Everybody, you know, unfortunately, you know, nobody's really sticking to their roles. And as a tank, you're kind of slow, or as a warrior tank, rather. So obviously, the druid's kitty form is going to run faster than us. So that kind of sucks a little bit. I did not need to pull this group of ads. Definitely a little blunder on my part. Going to take us a couple seconds longer. I don't know why things are not aggroed on me. Big waste of time this entire whole session has kind of been. So I'm going to go ahead and repost that so that they know that I'm still recording. And, you know, there we go. Unfortunately, nobody's really sticking with the roles. It's not too terrible of things to be worried about. So we'll go ahead and just go through here. It appears that I still have a parachute. I kind of want to grab another one because I did use it. So we will see. We will see. So the area that we want to jump down in, the way I look at it, it's this thing, and it flows right to where we need to go. So that's how I always find where I need to go. So it appears that the other warrior did not cast his parachute or grab another one. So that means that he took a bunch of damage and probably irritated the healer a little bit. Nobody really follows the mechanics all that well anymore, so that's definitely one of those things you're like, WTF, why did you not just cast the parachute? And if the warlock's pet, well, maybe we are going to encounter that. So I'm just going to keep up and look. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit aggravating to do so poorly in dungeons right now. But there's the warlock. The warlock is behind us quite a bit. Well, he's coming now. So we will see. We'll see. It doesn't appear that the warlock accidentally pulled anything, so the mail that just popped up means that I left the dungeon before. What is going on? Why are you guys all here? Yeah, this is maybe the warlock's thing did not. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so a little bit rougher than I would really have liked any of these videos or any of these dungeon runs to be. And I'm not running any hard content. I'm obviously geared for this content. So, you know, obviously I couldn't solo this content. But, or at this level, I mean, obviously on a level 90, you can just, you know, you can just run and never stop one-hit the bosses. But yeah, this is definitely a little bit aggravating for the whole ordeal, and especially since I'm trying to do a dungeon here. So the fact that this is not going as smooth is, you know, it definitely bothers me. I don't like failing, and especially if I'm going to be showing you guys everything going on, dying twice in a video. It's like WTF. So, I mean, but dying happens. The first time was definitely my fault. Second time, not so much. But, you know, you're running a group dungeon, so with it being a group effort, you're definitely going to have hiccups. And especially early on in this. And like I said, this dungeon definitely has a little bit of mechanic twists to it that don't hurt you, but they definitely don't help you either, especially with new guys or new members to WoW. So, and you know, if anybody watches this that was running this dungeon with me, you know, you don't take it offensive that I'm saying that you're new, but if you're not, it's just that there was mechanics that you definitely left out that were very noobish, to say it in a nice way. To miss them. You know, you run in a dungeon and, you know, you miss those. It kind of screams, I'm new to WoW, sorry guys. So, you know, got to do that. So since I completed the quest in this dungeon, I'm going to go ahead and turn in here. I kind of want to re-queue to see if we can do another fast queue like that. But at the same time, I really don't want to re-queue. But I'll go ahead and do it anyways. So, the group is getting better overall. Some of it's probably my fault. I don't really know what I'm doing that could be my fault. But, you know, I can't just blame everybody. It's got to be me too. So, I did get some pretty good gear from that from those bags. I actually used both of them, which is an oddity for me. So it appears that we have a healer, DPS, and me requeuing. So we will see if that is going to work. So we got 2. So now we're waiting for long victory, which I don't know what he's doing. He's just kind of standing there AFK, so he's probably gone. So I kind of hate that you can't kick on loot rolls. Or nope, he came back. So, yep, this is what I said. We're going to run this dungeon a few times over. Part of the reason why I'm probably running it over is the level of everybody in the group, level 27. So it's probably the healer that's causing us to requeue for this. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But normally you'd get something else, and it's normally one of the lower tier dungeons, or the lowest person that's keeping you on a lower tier dungeon. So we'll see. And haha, look at that. I grabbed my parachute and I activated it. Look at that. I can follow mechanics. The same thing that I complain that other people don't do. So we'll see. We'll see if the healer gets here quick enough to keep me up. Apparently he does. There I go. I got heals. If it'd been a little bit longer, I'd have tried to look and find heals and run 2 healers in order to stay up on this dungeon. But it doesn't really appear that that was an issue. Obviously, the healer was looking for the tank, which is always a good sign. So, and the healer is aggroing off from me. I don't know why. I'm in my defensive stance, which should be holding aggro, especially with the healer. So overall, don't really know what's going on. But hey, whatever. We're getting through it. There isn't like a righteous fury thing that I have to activate on a warrior. It's just straight up defensive stance in let's see. And I'm in protection. So I don't know what's going on. Oh, there we go. There we go again. Super sweet. So casting my shield stam. So we're gonna die again. Most likely, anyways. So we'll see if we can get through this without dying. So yeah, definitely a warlock mistake there. So, but wasn't really ready for it like last time, but I did have a good deal of rage built up, so I was able to cast 2 of those shield slams, or shield blocks. So definitely that's why we were able to get through there, I think. And I was better able to pick it up, so the healer could concentrate heals on me rather than like on everybody in the group at once. And that's why you have a tank, is so that the healer isn't having to heal 5 people at the same time, for max damage. You set up one person to take all the damage, take all the aggro, and then that person and then the healer gets to focus on that. And with a little bit of group healing action going on, because there's always going to be AoE and the random person that takes aggro off from the tank. So, not a big deal. Definitely a little bit smoother this run. Unfortunately, we're doing this dungeon, so that kind of sucks. I don't know. I dislike it a little bit. Overall, I don't mind it too much. It's a pretty cool dungeon, and certainly I could just do the whole dungeon, but that just takes a lot more time, obviously, doing the whole thing instead of streamlining it. Um, and you always get people that are kind of like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Let's just get through." And obviously, you are going to get more EXP just running through like we are. And you know, if you want to do the whole dungeon, let me know. We'll do the whole dungeon. This isn't one that I even ask on because most people don't know the entire dungeon anyways. Most the people that are playing just know the way that we're running. And when you start going off other places, they're like, "What are you doing, noob? It's this way." And you're like, "Okay, well, no, it's not. That's not the entire dungeon. But yeah, we can go that way, and that streamlines it." But it's more of people are used to running this way, and I don't know of many people who run the traditional full dungeon, especially because the first boss that you'd come to is up top, and you have to wait for like rocks to fall and all kinds of craziness. I haven't run it for a long time. That's one thing my wife really likes to do. She likes to run the entirety of a dungeon in a scenario, and after we do it once, she's kind of over it. But it's like the first time we do something, she wants to do the whole thing. So she's like, "Where are you going? Why does it go left? What's to the left?" And I'm like, "Oh, another boss." And she's like, "So why aren't we killing the boss?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, because I'm lazy." She's like, "You're just going to skip a boss? What about the XP? What about the loot?" And I'm like, "We're in full heirlooms, babe. Why do we need loot?" And she's like, "Well, what about the EXP?" I'm like, "Oh, it's faster." She's like, "So you're telling me it's faster to complete a dungeon than to complete a whole dungeon, and that gives you more EXP?" I'm like, "Yep." She's like, "No, it doesn't. You're an idiot." And I'm like, "Okay." Because there's really nothing to say at that point. That kind of little argument that we would have and constantly do have over stuff, it's like, okay, I could bring out graphs and you know, bring up a PowerPoint presentation and do all this, and at the end, you're probably just going to be like, "You're a smartass," or I can just say, "Okay," and do what she wants. That is a key thing that anybody out there that's ever going to get married needs to learn to do with their spouse is to just say okay and pick your battles. Obviously, there's some things that are worth debating and getting to the correct answer over. And then there's things that aren't really all that important, like the manner in which you run a dungeon on World of Warcraft. Not that important. Not nearly important enough for me to argue with my wife over. Super not important, you know. You know, I might get some grief over that from people that are hardcore WoW fans and are like, "No, you have to run it perfect every time." Well, I'm here to tell you, no, you don't. And especially if your wife doesn't want you to do it that way and thinks that the other way is better, it is so much better of an idea just to go ahead and let her do what she's going to do and just agree to it, even if it's not necessarily the correct, quote unquote correct way to do something. It sure as heck is the best way to keep your wife playing World of Warcraft with you. Arguing over stupid stuff, not ideal. And I think that's kind of why we ended up stopping playing World of Warcraft. And then on top of that, I was very... Oh, crap. So that warrior is about to die because he pulled all kinds of craziness. So... I don't know where he went. I don't know if he's going to re-queue or not. But he certainly did drop his body. So that kind of sucks. Holy cow. More stuff. And there's an alarm bot that we missed. So yeah, the warrior just re-queued. I ran back here to try to, res him so that he didn't have to run all the way back and we didn't lose that DPS. But he decided to re-queue. So, or not requeue, run back in, which is fine. I don't know. Yeah, definitely not a big fan of this dungeon and what's going on here. So, we'll see if, yeah. Oh, that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. I wasn't a big fan of his anyways. So, you might blame me for that. Let's set the focus on, let's mark me with a star so that people can see me. I do that sometimes. What is going on? Oh. Great. Super sweet. So I guess we'll come over here. This is a big waste of our time. Like, hey, if you die in the dungeon and the group isn't gonna wipe, um, don't run all the way back. Like, super horrible idea. So that is that. Let's see if so we'll stay here and wait. So we'll hang out, and it appears that everybody is here now. I don't see any arrows. So we're going to go ahead and actually run through this. So, yep, here we go. Hopefully we'll get through this. I think, oh wow, we keep losing that third DPS. Not a big deal. I'm definitely going to find a different group once I get out of here. After this dungeon. I don't want to rerun this dungeon again, and I really don't know why this is going as poorly as it is. But, I have hit level 28. I think I'm about to the hour mark. Actually, I am at the hour mark if you want to count the time that I turned off the video for with the auction house and waiting to queue. But we're going to go for an hour-long video, not playtime, even though it wasn't really playtime, so we'll see. Oh, yeah, there's still that guy. So, I wanted to get to level 30. It looks like I'm probably going to get to level 29, and that appears to be the way it is, except for last time I actually hit level 26, and 25 was my goal. So, about 20 minutes a level is what it appears to be. And it would be faster if we'd have got different dungeons, obviously, and if the first dungeon had actually had the bosses instead of just the ads. It's like, ugh. But hey, whatevs. And holy cow, we've lost. Oh no, we just haven't got a new one yet. But that's super fine. I don't really care at this point. Yep. So, I'm sorry. I was reading the DPS meter on the bottom left there and seeing what is going on. So, there is obviously not a whole lot going on in the DPS, except for that we have had 7 people so far in this run. The lock has dropped out, which I'm not I'm not upset about the lock dropping out at all, except for the fact that we waited for him to run back, and then he just like, screw you guys, I'm going home. So somebody declined coming into the dungeon, which is always super fun. It's like, hey. So, actually, probably what it was that they didn't decline. They just weren't at their computer, and that kind of sucks. Oh, now we got a person. and they're going to be locked outside the dungeon. So I'm going to go ahead here and pop up my Devastates on them. So it weakens the armor target by 4% for 30 seconds, stacks up to 3%. So everybody in the group is doing 12% more damage to him. So I did hit level 29. I'm going to back out. I kind of want to stay just for that guy so that we could requeue faster. But I want a different dungeon, and oh, well, she's 30, 28, 26, 30. So, no, I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave the group. And we're going to requeue. So, I do feel bad about doing that because that guy definitely got hosed a little bit. And I'm probably going to end up having to wait a little bit here to go ahead and get into another dungeon. So, we'll see. Is this hand better than our other one? So technically this is more of my class. The other one does 7 critical or gives me 7 points to crit. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep everything the way I'm at. Because with that being said, the chance of that 7 dodge isn't going to really affect me, and overall with all the gear I have on, I should really be doing absolutely fine in the as far as the damage mitigation. So with that being said, if I'm fine in damage mitigation, I might as well bump up my damage to creatures. So that's why I just went ahead and kept that. So since this took me so long last time, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and see where I'm at as far as the videos go. I'm going to run another dungeon with this, and hopefully it's a new one, but I'll be back in a little bit. So we get a pop. That wasn't too bad. It was only a couple minutes. Actually, for recorded time right now, I'm looking at 50 minutes. So this dungeon is probably going to put us like, I would say about 5 minutes over on the conservative side. Ultimately, I think we can actually run the dungeon and get everything done within 10 minutes. I've done it in like 7 before, but this is a random group, don't know the characters, don't know how well it's going to be. It could be a train wreck like a couple of the dungeons we've seen so far. So let's go ahead and, oh, perfect. They did it. They did my job for me. If I had a monk here, that'd be super sweet. So, but I don't. So we're going to go ahead, pick this up, and start running. With the monk in this, it's pretty cool because I can just roll. I can roll straight forward. And especially if you pick the ability with the 3 rolls, you can roll right into them, which is pretty freaking sweet. So, you know, you just skip this whole run up part, which is completely and utterly pointless. So, got to get my thunderclap off there. Got it off. The one thing that kind of sucks and that you don't get until level 30 is the ability is a second AoE ability. You know, I'm stuck with just one AoE ability, and the hunter is taunting, has pent taunt on. So I'll message him on the next boss about it. And I have an awesome video on here that teaches hunters how to turn off pet taunt. So if anybody has an issue with that and doesn't know how to do it, please check it out. Please learn how to turn off your pet taunt. See, right there, he's taunting off me. So alternatively, what I could do is let his pet die, and that would be whatever. But I'm gonna tell him to. So I'm gonna let him know that this is being recorded and that I'm doing this. Blah 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 blah. So let's see. Is that good for me? No. Well, it's good for me in the fact that I don't have a ring. I don't have any rings. So getting those stats would be just fine. But at the same time, I'm not going to steal loot from somebody else. So that's where we're at with it. So hopefully, nope, can't do that. Somebody cast an AoE. So that's why this is so irritating, is that with only one AoE, I can't even pull this whole thing that I normally would. So go back and then we have the Hunter's Pet Taunt. That is, he may or may not have turned it off. I can't tell right now. It's just kind of a cluster. So this is definitely not the preferred method that I do. It's kind of become cattywampus in this pull. So we'll see. We'll see if they all pull up here or not. So that is that. I think it should be fine. Yeah, it's fine. So something is obviously pulling off me. And it's definitely the Hunter's Pet. So that's really annoying. And I've asked him to turn it off a couple times. So, and it's not going to hurt the group. How to turn off Pet Taunt? So yeah, as you can see here, it's his pet that's taunting off me. You can see that that guy just got taken off me for the pull. So that's fine. It's definitely the Hunter's Pet that's taunting off me. No big deal. No real issue with it. Just going to pop in here, take this, and kill him. So I kind of take, as silly as it may sound, I kind of take boss fights as the opportunity to say stuff to people. So even like, okay, so I'm looking at this, and this gives me 38 armor and blah 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 blah. But I am not a leather wearing class, and other people are going to be like, "Holy cow, that's awesome for me!" Even though it is good for me and it would help me, it's not. I'm not gonna need on something like that. So because it's not for my class. So if something's not for my class, and even if it's good for me, I'm going to pass on it, or greed rather. If I win it on greed, okay, obviously that's going to be freaking cool. But I'm definitely going to be wearing stuff that is not optimized for my class. And, like I said, I don't typically buy stuff from the auction house. It would probably be a good idea for me to buy some stuff off from the auction house and flush out my character. It definitely would make this go a little bit quicker. But overall, definitely not one of those things that I need to do. As you can see in here, I'm obviously doing just fine as damage and damage mitigation. And we're not coming anywhere near the time. We're not coming anywhere near close to dying. I say that, and I did die twice already. What I'm really waiting for Blizzard to do is go ahead and release heirlooms for every slot. That would be sweet. I like heirlooms. And even though they don't go all the way up to, oh, that's awesome. Well, I can't even complain about that. They did a great job in killing that. So, oh, except for the fact that I'm dead. I don't know what happened there. I was clicking stuff. I was clicking my loot stuff. So, yep, that was super sweet. Died. So now we gotta wait. But it's fine. They're going to get it up and res me, please. And once they do, we'll hit the last boss and end this video for today. Overall, this was a bit more rough than I would have liked. Unfortunately speaking, I like everything to be smooth. Today I've died 3 times, which definitely goes to show you that you can die. And even being a adept player at a video game like this, there's always going to be blunders, and especially if you're relying on other people's content in order to progress through. So after I get done with this dungeon, I'm actually going to go ahead and whisper the hunter and see if I can get him to at least watch my video, not necessarily to get people to view my page or anything like that, just because if I was a less understanding tank and a less understanding person, it definitely would be one of those things that gets people kicked from dungeons. And when I didn't know about it, it definitely got me kicked from a dungeon. So I'm going to wait and turn in the quest with you guys so that I'm not going to ding, obviously. But, oh well, the hunter actually left. So I can't even message him. So that kind of sucks. But, oh well. So actually I might ding level 30 here. We'll see. So 8k. And then 8k. Oh yes, we hit our goal. And we get our second AoE damage. So that is super sweet. That is super sweet. I actually made my goal for the day. So, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, please like, comment below. Arjax out.